everybody. Hello, hello, hello. From me, 420 Chilli Sash, and my dear friend above me, Kerri from, of course, Chili Sauce BE. You should check out their links. They are here. Kerri, please explain to the people, what is Chili Sauce BE?
Chili Sauce.be. So we're basically a hot sauce shop. So we are a retailer for a few different suppliers. You will not find our sauces in supermarkets, mostly from the UK. We've got Grim Reaper Foods, our main stockist. We've got Wiltshire Chili Farm. We also do Crazy Bastard from Berlin. We do Happy Hatter sauce from Belgium. We've got Devon Chili Man, a very tasty Reaper sambal from the UK. We have different guest producers on at the moment. We've got White Whale, Netherlands, is featured. We have the 420 sauce from Germany. And we just have different producer sauces, different salts, sauces, oils, condiments, not just all sauce, dried peppers.
But you do your own sauces. You do your own sauces as well, don't you?
We also do have our own sauce. Thank you for that. Yes. Lockdown last year, we got a bit creative with a small company from the UK and released our own label, 2020, a sauce you won't forget. Typically aimed at the Belgian markets. You know, they're very into spaghetti, tomato, garlicky, Italian herbs types of flavors. So it's sauce based on that, basically.
I can recommend it. Everyone, buy it. I was given a bottle of it as a present by a friend, and it was delicious.
Yeah, it's actually very good. Yeah, I love it.
I like to eat it with pasta. Actually, I eat it very often with gnocchi dishes myself, but that's because I'm a pasta dude, you know. But then you've no. But then, so how Chili Sauce BE, is that your company personally?
Yes, it is. We initially started off under Grim Reaper branding. We came from the UK into the Belgian markets. Just very small, had no idea what was going on with all the chili world across here.
How does that work? You're going to have to enlighten me on that. So you started off under the Grim Reaper branding. You were based in the UK, and now you're in the Netherlands with a Belgian company that sells
Netherlands
sauces.
is very new, and that's just but it's still a Belgian-based company.
How did the road begin for you then? How do you get there exactly? What's the first step exactly? I mean, what does that mean? That means that you were friends with the guy from Grim Reaper, or you met them? Explain.
Yeah, he's a good friend of my dad. My dad's a big chili head. He used to grow lots of hot peppers, and he's a good friend of Russell. And Russell was wanting to branch out into Europe. Me and my partner at the time were wanting to travel in Europe and explore a bit. So it kind of all tied in. Thought we'll take the chili business across Europe, do a bit of traveling, do some markets, and bring hot sauce with us.
So that means literally you were in the United Kingdom and you were given the offer, here's a market stall and here's hot sauce. Now go. Or did he give you markets to go to? Or how does it work?
Yeah, kind of. I've worked in markets and events for 8 to 10 years already. So I have a lot of different contacts, and there was a very good company in Belgium that we heard of, Fiesta Europa. We are still back on them now. And every week they do different cities, different locations, and they travel around with all different foods and goods and everything from European countries. So started with them and did a bit of a tour with them. We created our own market stall with the products from Grim Reaper. And yeah, it just kind of escalated from there. People loved it. There was a big demand for it. There was lots of like-minded chili heads. Lots of people growing their own peppers. There's a big growing culture across here, which is really nice to get into. And it just kind of escalated and expanded. And then after the first year or so, I kind of thought, you know, we need to keep this within Europe and create something nice with this and expand on it a bit more, I guess. Elaborate it, make it bigger, get different suppliers, different ranges of things, and yeah, just keep going with it because it was good.
So you were sent on a mission out of the UK, and essentially you took a market stall with you, you took a bunch of products with you, you had some contacts with the network, and you started to travel with that network. Does that mean that you immediately left the UK and began living in continental Europe at that time?
Yeah, pretty much. We would kind of do, the market season would start in April. So we used to do April till September on the seasonal markets, and then we'd find some indoor events in Germany, actually, Veggie World.
Oh, yeah.
In Germany. We started doing those indoor ones, so we went to Germany with them. That was quite interesting also. And then Christmas, we would do Christmas markets in Ghent in Belgium.
Oh, it's a beautiful city. Absolutely beautiful. I
Yeah.
don't understand why you didn't move to that city. It's so sexy, that city. Why did you not move to Ghent? Why did you move to Eindhoven?
The kind of lifestyle, though, when we were doing the Belgian markets, before last year really happened, it was more on my camper van. I didn't have a fixed base as such, because every kind of weekend, it's a different location moving around. So it was a very mobile job also.
So you were living in your camper van whilst you were doing that? Dude, you don't look like the big hippie type to me, but clearly you are.
Yeah, we had two vans between us. We had one for stock and holdings and different things, and a stock premises, of course. But yeah, it was camper van living for 3 years.
Dude, that's such a brave step to take, especially to move yourself out of your country of origin with essentially not much of a plan and just a camper van to live in. Were you nervous when you did that?
Not really, because before that point, I hadn't lived in the UK, actually. I hadn't lived in Scotland for a long time. I was in Australia, New Zealand, and Spain and France a bit before that.
Ah, so you're the traveling type, huh?
I am for sure, yes.
So does that mean that Eindhoven, where you're based right now, is not your final destination, that you plan to move on and expand your horizons to other interesting places?
Who knows? For now, I've been here since December. Still got the base in Belgium, of course, but Holland's fab, and there's a big hot sauce culture here as well. They've got sambals, Indonesian culture here a lot, so they're a little bit used to spicy things.
Why is there such a hot? I mean, in Europe, if I'm thinking about chili markets, the first one that was laid on my doorstep when I was talking to people, when I started the business, and I was like, oh my God, who's going to buy this stuff from me? I don't know. And the first country I was directed to was Hungary, because, of course, Hungary is the place where the first chilies came into Europe. That's why in Hungary, their national dish, goulash, is spiced with spicy paprika. It's thing. So, I hit that market, but the Belgian market, that wouldn't compute in my mind. Why the Indonesian influences and stuff?
Belgium, it also wasn't maybe a first kind of thought or direction for hot sauce initially, but the particular markets were very good. The mix of the culture was sometimes 4 or 5 day markets, and there would be music and stages, and it brings all people in. As I said, there's a very big growing culture in Belgium, so there's a very interest for peppers anyway.
Why did it take you so long to produce your own hot sauce? I can't understand it. Why did it take a COVID lockdown?
Other people do it so well. And I don't know.
Do you know, it's so interesting. It's so interesting talking to different producers of chili sauces from around the world, There's a guy I've spoken to you about before. He was my, mentor would be the right word. He's taught me how to, not give everyone botulism and package things correctly so the police don't throw me in jail, he always said the same thing. And it's interesting because I've spoken to him now in groups of chili producers, like a whole gang of us, all of us hot sauce dudes producing hot sauce. And he told me, Oliver is his name, his company's Abenteuer Chili, plug for Oliver. Yes. And he told me that when I started out, he said, you shouldn't be giving in to this feeling that your product is somehow inferior to other people's products. Just because you produced it, to you it's normal, it doesn't mean that it's shitty compared to other people's products. It's you know, it's its own thing, and you shouldn't make yourself small, is exactly what you said to me at the beginning. And what's so ironic to me is, like, I've had this conversation with people who are new in the world of hot sauces, like, for example, White Whale hot sauces or Uncle Johnny's hot sauce we spoke about. It's super hot sauces. Big plug from our friends, Uncle Johnny's and White Whale sauces. My God, they're good. I've got a bottle right next to me right now, actually, and I've got a big box of Uncle Johnny's under my counter. Coming out tomorrow. But then, those guys as well, you know, it's a question of, like, I don't know, if I put myself out there, then I'm potentially going to be compared to other people's products, and other people's products is amazing, and it's like daunting, it's daunting. Yeah, it's almost like a weird form of modesty, or I don't know. I mean, it's nice because it's the exact opposite of being egotistical. You know, like if you're a big egomaniac narcissist, you'd be like, I am the best. Everything I do is the best. But even like, I was chatting with people who, I won't say any names here because I'm sure he wouldn't like me to say it. But I was chatting with a guy who is completely dominant in his country of origin in terms of hot sauce. He outsells everyone 10 bottles to 1, you know, and he's got a long history behind him. And he's got local production going on in almost every country in the world, of his sauces. And even he has the same thought processes after 20, 30 years of knocking out the hot sauce. It's so strange. Yeah? Wow. But then, I mean, for me, hot sauce is part of my sort of life journey. I can see, obviously, it's the same for you as well. Yeah. It makes me feel comfortable having my little hot sauce world around me when I'm in all kinds of weird and wonderful places living. Although, don't get me wrong, I don't really do I miss living in the UK? Now, that's a good question. Do I miss living in the UK?
Which part of the UK did you live in?
I lived in a few. I'm born in Brighton, which is like southeast, an hour from London, on the coast. Brighton. Yeah, Brighton's a nice place. It's full of freaks. It's got a life expectancy which is about 10 years lower than the life expectancy of the rest of England, because it's such an intensely I mean, the main industries are tourism, bars, that kind of stuff, and clubs, music, and it's reflected in the lifestyle. And there's an old phrase, to make old bones, meaning to grow old. And you're not going to make old bones if you live in Brighton and you live a Brighton lifestyle. You're really not. Your liver will explode, your lungs will give up, you'll accidentally walk into the middle of the road when you're, out of your mind in some way and get hit by a car. But I don't know. I mean, I lived in Brighton. I lived in Oxford for a while because I did study there a little bit, neurobiology. Oxford's lovely, and London all over, because I was working in the arts for many years, and so London's a no-brainer. You have to, and all over London. Scotland, all about. I was mainly in Glasgow, but also in Edinburgh, Inverness, Kirkcaldy. I was also for a period of time in just borderline. Well, what the hell was that? I even forget the name of the area. Dumfries.
Dumfries, okay.
Dumfries, In Dumfries, I was relatively famous at the time. And whilst I was living there, I always found it very amusing. They asked me, I was a teenager of the 90s boy band culture, which was soaked in drugs, that culture. And I'm extremely happy it's behind me and I can live a normal type of a lifestyle now, I have to say. But what I found ironic was, during those messy years, I spent some time in Dumfries, and whilst I was there, I was asked, as the famous person in the area, to come and judge the local school's anti-drugs song contest.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Okay. And I almost missed my time on stage because I was out back smoking a joint. So there you go. That was me. But that was the 90s, That was the 90s. But what do I miss? Yeah, moving on is good. And thank God for moving on. I tell you what, my life, if I compare my life now to what my life was then, there's a lot less flashing lights and bumping into Mick Jagger. Yeah. But however, on the other side, there's a lot less sweating and feeling uncomfortable and waking up in rubbish dumpsters and horrible, stupid things like that, which I really don't miss. But I do miss, I've got a stash of British sweeties. That's one thing for sure that I miss. Like fruit pastels. Those, wine gums, jelly tots and all of that. And I also have, believe it or not, we have here a Jewish deli, but a Jewish delicatessen for those who don't know what's a Jewish deli. But in a strange way, it's just like a big cupboard where I can store things that I miss from home. I've got, British ginger beer in here. I have banoffee pies. I have fruit pastels. I have all the things I miss. Yeah, food. I miss the food. Yeah. What do you miss from home?
I miss the people, I miss the humor, I miss the humor. I think the wit, the quickness, the humor, the sarcasm, everybody talks to you, the friendliness, the openness, everybody just talks to you, says hello, everybody's just very down to earth and open.
But you're in the Netherlands, aren't they quite open over there in the Netherlands?
Also,
and friendly
actually,
and so on?
Yeah, for sure. I'm learning that here. Yeah, and very direct. So if you think something, they'll tell you, and that's also quite a nice thing. There's a lot of similarities actually with Holland and Scotland. Yeah.
I wondered, do you miss the cultural events from Scotland? There's a lot of kind of bizarre and interesting. We did an episode of our show together just now. We were chatting about Burns Day. Which is a national holiday, that kind of thing. Yes. Do you miss those things?
Yes and no, but they're actually celebrated elsewhere too. There's a lot of Scottish Highland Games that can happen over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I've worked on lots of events in Holland and Belgium on Scottish Highland Games.
I'm so coming. Yeah, I'm so coming to one of those.
They're really good. Fun. Yeah, there's a big Scottish weekend in Belgium. There's lots of different Highland Game events, and they go all out. They really go for it over here. Actually, there's a lot. When did
you leave the UK? Then when did you leave for your New Zealand, Australia stuff? How long ago?
12 years ago.
Traveling girl.
12 years. I haven't lived at home since then. I was home for 4 months in last year because of lockdown. And it was lovely, actually, having 4 months at home.
You went back to Scotland for your lockdown?
Well, it ended up, that was our time back at home normally is the start of the year, January, February, March, is the downtime from markets. So it's the time, family time, home time. And that's obviously when the shit kicked in. So quite nicely, it was 4 months at home.
Ooh, that's nice.
To do and not busy all the time and not agendas to think about. And it was really nice.
It was so weird for me, the lockdown time. Here I was in Bavaria and everyone else was locked in their houses. But because we have, every time they closed everything, it was like a bazooka shot, what do they shoot bazookas? Missiles, I guess? A bazooka shot a missile and it came whistling towards me and I panicked and then it flew past my head, like that, because we always manage, because of the nature of our business, we're a hot sauce company, we're a shop, but we're also a delicatessen, we're also a delivery place for food, and so on and so on. So each time the bazooka missile flew past my head and we were open. And so in the first lockdown, it was the most intensely weird experience because everyone else was off and I was in my normal place. You always, when you ever, not just you, Kerri, but anyone out there, come to Gostenhof in Nuremberg and walk along the street where you will find our place, our headquarters, the Chili Lounge, you'll always find me sat on the right side of the door, smoking a cigarette and drinking a cup of something like coffee or something like that, talking to my neighbors. And I remained there through lockdown, but there was no people. And there was a kind of I don't know if it was to do with the change in the pollution spiegel, pollution mirror in the air, but the light was different. It was yellowish. It was kind of weirdly apocalyptic, the light, almost sunset light, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think it was something to do with the lower number of emissions from the cars or something. And there was no one on the streets where normally there'd be loads of people. There was no noise. And there was emergency vehicles like fire trucks and ambulances and police cars driving slowly through the streets with the lights flashing, but not making a noise. And so I'd be sat there eerily on my own, twiddling my thumbs in this post-apocalyptic weirdness. And I felt very, very sorry for myself. Like, God, this is some weird shit, man. Until I was FaceTiming with a friend of mine from Ghana. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you've got to see this shit. It's so strange. And I waved the phone around so he could have a look. And I said, like, it feels, I can't explain it, but it doesn't feel nice. I feel very odd. And then he said something to me which put it in perspective in a really big way. He said, really, Sash? He said, you find that problematic? My town in Ghana, we had the Ebola outbreak. And I said, and? And he said, imagine exactly what you're experiencing now, but with sprays of blood on the walls and floor. I was like, whoa, all right. Okay. My first world problems of weird light and flashing blue flashing blue police cars is definitely shit or nothing. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah. So what's it to Germany then?
How did I come to Germany? Accident, complete accident, random accident. I was working at the time in a sort of theatrical milieu, and so I would have work.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'd have a lot of work. Very intensely for a period of months. Then I'd have a big gap, you know, where there was nothing to do, basically, apart from chill and spend the money I earned, because that was when I was a youngster. So I didn't think about the future. I just took the money I had and spent it all immediately. And so I always did the same thing. I used to hop on a bus or a plane or even a train sometimes over to Amsterdam, and I'd just hang out there. I had a kind of a favorite youth hostel called the Flying Pig, and I'd go and hang out there, and I would just find an adventure is what I would do. So I'd arrive, and then I'd bump into a group of artists who were there from Latvia, who were there to do a bicentennial exhibition, and I'd end up on a bus to Latvia, and then I'd be in Latvia. And, you know, that was kind of how I did it, you know, and it was a nice way to explore Europe and Eastern Europe. Yeah, I had great fun. And then one time I hopped over there, and I won't give the whole story on this one because it'll take a while, but I hopped over there and I went looking for fun on my first night, found what I thought was a woman to flirt with, but found out that actually that was a transvestite bar. So that wasn't a woman. But I'd paid my money to get in, and the music was nice because it was South American transvestite bar. So they had those cajones, you know, that they sit on and they drum. Yeah, they're very hot. Yeah. And so they were drumming away on that stuff. And then there was one actual female who was in the place. And so I had a bit of a dance. I learned later, ironically, I had come in to flirt with one specific woman who turned out to be a man. And she had also come in to flirt with the same woman. So we both turned up there, and I wasn't interested because it wasn't a woman, and she wasn't interested because it wasn't you know, a woman as well. And then had a few drinks, didn't talk because the music was loud. And then the first words we said after alcohol, young people, South American music, gets hot and heavy very quickly with those icy, sweety, sugary drinks that they make over there. Yes. And and the first words we said were hotel, okay, hotel. And so we ran out. There was a hotel next door, which was the size of the door of the hotel, one of those Amsterdam hotels, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Pushed our way through, went, room, we need a room. And he gave us a key, asked us for some, I think, guilders at the time, and then gave us a pack of condoms. And then we popped upstairs and didn't speak, just did the thing that young people do in that situation. And I won't go into details, but having had a few too many drinks, I tried to do something that you shouldn't really try and do quickly and without preparation, let's say, by accident, okay? And that caused some physical discomfort in the lady I was with. And what I learned later is she was a trained jiu-jitsu specialist. And so I kind of triggered an automatic reaction, and she flipped over and cracked me on the jaw, bang, and knocked me out. And I like a tough lady. I don't like, I've always had it in me. I like strong women, you know? And so she knocked me out. I was on the floor. I came to with this naked, beautiful woman waving her hands over me and going, I'm fucking sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm just trained for jiu-jitsu. That's all it is. And my first words were, I love you. I will follow you wherever you are going. And she said, well, I'm not from Amsterdam. And I said, I don't care where you're from. And she went, yeah, but I have to go home tomorrow and I live in, and I was like, don't tell me where you live. How much money does it cost to go where you're going? And she said, 70 guilders, euros, I forget. And I said, all right, well, I've got that. Here it is. I'll come with you in the morning. Don't tell me where we're going. It'd be a nice surprise. And then we continued our evening. And I woke up groggily, got on a train, went to sleep, woke up in a small Bavarian town, and was taken from the train to an English bar, which was opposite the train station, where I had a full English breakfast and drank some German beer, which was very nice. And an Irishman who was in the bar offered me a job. Okay. So I stayed. And that's how I'm here. That's now early 2000s. I couldn't tell you exactly the year because
it's a bit sketchy.
Yeah. But how did you start traveling then? What kicked off the traveling bug in you?
Oh, I think it started initially probably when I was 19. I went to Australia for a month when I was 19. And since then I came back and thought, I have to go back there. I have to go traveling. I need to get back. And then took different jobs and bought a house and had boyfriends and, you know, had a bit of a different life. And I worked for an airline. I worked for Flybe.
Ooh, very nice.
So I worked in the airport on the general abuse desk, we used to call it. But working for the airline gave you the perks. So I had staff travel. So for the 5 years of that, nice. I had very cheap holidays here, there, and everywhere. But it was still in me to, you know, get back to over that side of the world. And when I was 26, I just applied for my work holiday visa for a year and said, right, that's it now. I did 3 months the year before, 3 months, and then, yeah, this is still for me for sure. Came back, saved up my ass, saved up money, blah, blah, blah. 26, right, done. That's me, away for a year, and never went home again.
I love it, man.
Did different jobs and met different people and went home briefly, a few weeks here and there just to get my shit together, and then next adventure again.
I think one of the most profound things I ever heard somebody say on one of these kind of bonus good ship podcasts came from Montreal, from El Jefe, who's the boss there of the Capsaicin Cartel. And he said to all of the viewers, he said to them, get out of your comfort zone. Go, do, see, live. It's a short life, and there's a lot to do, and there's so many things to see. And just because you're 50 or 40 or 60 or whatever doesn't mean that you finished. It's time to go and do. Go and do it.
It's only scary until you do it. And then you do it, then it's normal.
Yeah.
It's daunting, it's petrified, and you're really worried about it until you actually then just do it, and then it's not scary at all. And then you just
I think
live your best life.
That is a superbly profound statement as well, my friend. It's only scary until you do it. And actually, for all of you lovely people out there in television land, I think my dear friend and myself are going to pop off to our respective beds. But
I think so.
Yeah, but then keep that in your mind, what you've just heard from Kerri right there, because that's a piece of wisdom, and you should remember that. It's only scary until you do it. Do it. What?
Whatever it is, just do it.
I
Stop
love it.
overthinking it. Just do it.
I love it. Well, from myself, from the lovely Kerri, we both of us would like to say ciao for now. So ciao to all of you lovely people.
Ciao, ciao.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Mwah.